Shalom, shalom. My name is Officer Eliab, and this is IOC in the classroom. And beside me is
Soldier Abel.
he'll be my reader, and we're gonna go into the biblical explanation a little bit, touch up on Purim, the importance of Purim, which is today we're closing this feast today of Purim. So let's see, what is Purim? First, we gotta find out, right? Purim is a biblical feast commemoration and the deliverance of the Jewish people from destruction of the Persian Empire, as recorded in the book of Esther. So we're going to be hitting the book of Esther on and off, explaining to you what was important of Purim. But first, let's bring the definition, because that was what I had written, and let's see what it has, what Google has. So there it is. So the word Purim, it says, again, like the same thing I say, a Jewish festival. It's not a Catholic. It's not a Baptist. It's a Jewish festival that it is held in the when? In the spring, right? So it says it's to commemorate. It's in belief the Purim is to signify of the massacre that was done to our people, and not only that, right? He was defending us from a big massacre, because remember at that time this brother Haman, he wanted to kill us, our people. He wanted to kill people, our Jewish people. He wanted to destroy us. Later on out, you got to know the accurate description, because some of the stories out there, he paints us the Jews being white, but no, it's the other way around. The Jews were being black, and Haman was a Caucasian color. So again, that's the true story behind it. But today we're going to touch on it, right? I'm not going to touch about color. I just want to give you a quick update on that. Okay, the word Purim comes from a pure lot. The word pure in the book of Esther, it means lot. You guys know what lot is? What lot is when you the dice. When you roll the dice, you throw the dice in the ground. I know a lot of your brother Judah like playing dice, and Northern Kingdom too, man. Northern Kingdom, they love playing dice too. So roll the dice, and the luck of whatever number rolls up. So that's what Purim means, the dice, the lot, right? Tossing whatever comes up on those dice number, right? It determines the day of destruction, okay? So let's go. Let's start with Esther chapter 9, verse 26.
The book of Esther, chapter 9 and verse 26. Wherefore they call these days Purim, after the name of Pur.
After what?
The name of Pur.
So after the name of Purim, go ahead.
Therefore, for all the words of this letter, and of that which they had seen concerning this matter, and which had come unto them, the Jews ordained and took upon them, and upon their seed, and upon all such as joined themselves unto them, so as it should not fail, that they will keep these 2 days according to their writing.
So the Purim means lot, tossing the dice. So we are supposed to be celebrating the Purim for 2 days. He took it upon us. We're going to celebrate it for 2 days. Why? Because we got deliverance, right? Our deliverance. It was our deliverance of Haman. So at this time, we since we were not killed, because you think about this, it was villages of us living, and if Haman would have gotten his way, it would have been thousands or maybe millions of us being killed all throughout all the land of King Xerxes the first. A bunch of us would have been killed during the Persian time. But because Haman had his way, because Haman did not get his way, we were able to overturn that, survive. And so to give thanks to the Most High God and to thanks for what happened, we celebrate that day, right? Finish.
And according to the appointed time every year.
That loose.
And that these days should be remembered and kept throughout every generation.
Should be what?
Kept through every generation.
No, I only do it like once a year.
Kept throughout every generation.
He's going to die out with me.
Kept throughout every generation.
So I mean that this feast, we're supposed to celebrate it throughout generations. I mean that I pass it on to my son. My son passes it on to his son. his son Pestilence. So it should never, every year should be celebrated all the way down to generation. Even centuries after you're long and gone, they should be still celebrating this feast. What happened? We lost this. We were disconnected from this heritage. We lost it, We went into sin. We started sinning. We started following false gods and adultery. And he ended up that we ended up falling back. And we lost this heritage. Man, this is one of our heritage feasts that we celebrate, It's funny because I was talking to one of my little sweet I call her my little sweet niece, and she had a good question, and she was asking me about the Bible, and also about it was part Bible and part of the world, and he said, Uncle, if we lost our heritage, that today we don't know who we are, what you expect for us to do, if we don't remember? I said, search. I said, search. The Bible is telling your heritage. The Bible is telling your story. The Bible is telling what happened to you. You have to have the motivation and the clues to search. We, at IUIC, we give you the tools, and we give you where to go. It's up to you how far you want to take it, how much learning you want to learn, how far you want to take your knowledge, especially when it comes to the Most High God, the Lord has said so. So that's one thing, all right? So the thing was, we have to do a research of this feast of Esther, why we celebrating the day of Purim. Interesting. Go ahead. You finish that?
Family, every province and every city, and that these days of Purim should not fail from among the Jews, nor the memorial of them perish from their seed.
So this memory of this feast should never depart from our seeds. I mean that our seeds should always be. This should be in their heart. They should always be thinking about this. Always be in their mind. Read.
Then Esther, the queen, the daughter of Abihail, and Mordecai, the Jew, wrote with all authority to confirm this second letter of Purim.
So you gotta understand this. The two main characters in this class today is Mordecai and Esther. And I'm gonna tell you this. It's funny because I'm a mother-in-law. I love her to death, bro. I don't think she likes me, but she's in the world. And one thing that we got into a little scuff about, well, she was scuffing me, was telling me that everything that Esther did, she didn't have to confine a man. She did not have to talk to a man. I was telling him, yes, she did. She had to talk to Mordecai. Mordecai was the man over her. Even though she was, oh, yeah, how could that be? Mordecai was nobody. She was a princess. I said, she was a queen. I said, yeah, but it didn't matter. Mordecai was her uncle. So everything she had to do, everything she must do, Mordecai was the one directing her on what things to do. So she asked me, right, like any other question. Okay. So if Mordecai had to tell, where did Mordecai step in to lead her? And I said, well, it's simple. I said like this. What did Mordecai say to her? And Mordecai said, well, once the king finds out that you're one of us, what's going to happen to you? He automatically made Esther understand, oh, shoot. Yeah, he's right. I got to try to save my people. Okay, so we're going to stop there. So we're talking about Purim, remember the letter. Let's go to Esther 1:1. We're going to go back into the historical background. What we got to understand is the events occurred during the reign of King Ahasuerus. Just remember that. Ahasuerus, which is commonly identified as Xerxes the First. So this is where it happened. So go ahead, read.
Esther chapter 1, verse 1.
That loose.
Now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus, this is Ahasuerus which reigned from India even unto Ethiopia, over 127 provinces, that in those days when the king of Assyria sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Shushan, the palace, and in the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast unto all his princes and his servants, the power of Persia and Media, the nobles and princes of the provinces, being before him, where he showed the riches of the glorious kingdom and on the honor of his excellent mastery many days, even 180 days.
So at this time, the king was ready to have a big feast. We're going to jump, soldier. Let's jump to verse 15.
Verse 15. What shall we do unto the queen, Vashti, according to the law?
No. Let's go 14. 14. Start with 14.
Verse 14. And the next unto him was Karshena, Shatar, Amatha, Tarshish, Maris, Marshina, and Mamukan, the 7 princes of Persia and Media, which saw the king's face, and which sat the first in the kingdom. What we shall do unto the queen Vashti according to the law.
So at this time, what was going on is that they have sent out for the queen Vashti, and this sister was very snobby, right? She was full of herself, and she decided to turn down the king's request. To zero, because you gotta understand, beauty is beyond the beholder. This woman supposedly was beautiful, so she thought she was all that. She was the best thing in the world. And I know there's some sisters out there who think they're the best in the world. They're God's given grace, best talent to a man. But you can be replaced, bro. You can be replaced. You stay in your lane. If you don't stay in your lane and you don't stay in these laws and you decide to go outside these laws, you can be replaced. So don't think that nothing can change that. And I'm going to show you what happened to the sister who she thought she was all that. She was beyond everything, and there was nothing to stop us. Let's jump to 15. After she decided to decline the king's request. Read.
Verse 15. What shall we do unto the queen Vashti according to the law? Because she hath not performed the commandment of the king Ahasuerus.
She had not what?
She had not performed the commandment of the king Ahasuerus.
So what we're going to do to this queen, they're asking themselves, right? Because she did not, the king called for her and she denied him. Remember, a king is like a god there, you know. Anything he said has to be done. And she sent out to request this, and you did not. A lot of y'all a lot of you people, a lot of back Hispanics and the American, they like the Most High God called you to His kingdom, called you to be a prophet, called you, and you deny it. You decline it. You say, hell no. You're so full of yourself that you don't want to do it. But one way or another, Most High God is going to get you where He wants to, whether to be a prophet or to burn. You know, it's your decision which way you directed. So this sister said, hell no, I'm not going to do it. Right? So read.
Because she hath not performed the commandment of the king Ahasuerus by the chamberlains.
Okay, John 17.
Verse 17. For this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women, so that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes. When it shall be reported, the king Ahasuerus commanded Vashti the queen to be brought.
So you understand. So now they're worried about that if she did that she disobeyed a man. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you something. Let's hold that. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 11. Know what I want. Verse 2 down. And then we'll be back to this. So you got to understand, this is the law, this is the rule that Vashti broke.
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 2.
Loose.
Now I praise you, brethren, that you remember me in all things, and keep the ordinances as I delivered them to you.
Read.
But I will have you know.
What?
But I will have you know.
He said, I need you to understand this.
That the head of every man is Christ.
Oh, so the head of every man is Christ. Read.
And the head of the woman.
The head of who?
the head of the woman
Uh-huh.
is the man.
So the top notch of a woman is the man. That's the law. So let's go back. Why? Well, that's the law that the Queen Vashti had broken. She dismissed her king, who was her head, right? She disrespected him. And now they're trying to figure out what they're going to do with this queen. Because remember, it's a queen. You know, what are they going to do with her? And they're here counseling the king what should be done with her. Because and one of the things they said, hey, can you imagine if every woman is to know that she disrespected the king and she got away with it, what's going to happen to every other man out there? They disrespect their husband. They're going to think they're going to get away with it. So we have to make an example, right? Read.
The book of Esther, chapter 1. For this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women, so that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes. Mm-hmm. When it shall be reported, the king Ahasuerus commanded Vashti, the queen, to be brought in before him, but she came not.
So he said this, she said, if they hear this, that the king himself gave her a commandment to come, and she decided not to come, you know, what we going to do? What kind of example is that she had given to all these women in the kingdom? When we, as head of the house, tell a woman to do something and they don't want to do it. Read.
Likewise shall the ladies of Persia and Media say this day unto all the king's princes, which have heard of the deed of the queen. Thus shall this arise too much contempt and wrath. So
if all the king, all this is going to bring is anger. So he says, so he said, if they get to know this, all this is going to be anger. So read.
If it please the king, let there go a royal commandment from him, and let it be written among the laws of the Persians and the Medes, that it be not altered, that Vashti come no more before King Ahasuerus, and let the king give her royal estate unto another that is better than she.
So he said, if this woman want to disrespect your king, you know, let's pass a law right now. That's what you mean by commandment. Let's pass a law right now stating that she loses everything. Because she was good enough to think she has all that, now she's going to have none. And we're going to find somebody better who can take that position. That's why I said, sisters, if you think if you're not doing the right thing in these laws and you're disrespecting your Lord in all kind of ways and not keeping those laws, bro, you will get replaced. You're not the top notch. Remember that. Read.
And when the king's decree, which he shall make, shall be published throughout all his empire,
Read.
For it is great, all the wives shall give to their husbands honor, both great and small.
So you see, he said, once the sisters know that we dealt with the queen this way, all these other women, when it comes to their husbands, they're going to understand, oh, shoot, they a queen who's top notch, who has, you know, if they dealt with her like that, what are they going to do with us? Man, we better get him fall in line. We gotta respect our husbands. We have to respect our Lord. Read.
And the same pleased the king and the princess.
So what he said, the king said, you're right. You're absolutely right. Read.
And the king did according to the word of Memucan, for he sent letters into all the king's provinces, into every province according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language, that every man should bear rule in his own house, and that it should be published according to the language of every people.
So he says, I want to send this decree that every man should be rulers of their own house. I mean that he is telling it. He was telling them, I'm gonna make sure that those women respect us moving forward. You know, because at that time, you know, he said, I'm gonna make it a decree. You know, but you know, it's funny because we're talking about it. The Most High God already has said that a long time ago, right? He already said that the woman, as we read in 1 Corinthians 11, that the man is ruler over the husband, right? But at the same time, the man has to what? Keep control. Got to know how to run his own house. But how can a man run his own house when the woman disrespected him? Two and two cannot go. Two and two cannot go. You know, you can't rule your house and your wife telling you what you need to do. Honey, I need this dishes washed, love, or I'm not gonna wash the dishes till later on because I just don't feel like doing it around. My show is on. Think about that, bro. That's disrespectful. And what you gonna do as a man? Be a simp? Yes, and don't worry, I'm gonna wash them, bro. That's not gonna happen. That's the same way, like we were saying. We gotta have control of our own house. In my house, if I see something wrong and I want to get it fixed, hey, honey, this done. You know what my wife's answer is? Yes, sir. I'll have it done as soon as possible. And she jumps right on it and get it done. Hey, honey, the kids I want to take a nap. Kids are too loud. Do something about it. Yes, sir. And I don't hear the sound of kids. She take them out. She moved them somewhere else. Why? Because it's obediency. That's humbling herself to her husband. And when things like that happen, that's when you got to have control. You have rulership over your own house. And God loves a man that they have rulership on your own house, right? Read.
You want chapter 2?
Jump to, you read 22?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to chapter 2.
Esther chapter 2, verse 1. After these things, when the wrath of King Ahasuerus was appeased, he remembered Vashti and what she had done and what was decreed against her.
Read.
Then said the king's servants that ministered unto him, let there be fair young virgins sought for the king, and let the king appoint officers in all the provinces of his kingdom, that they may gather together all the fair young virgins unto Shushan, the palace.
So now it's plain. Now he's telling you, oh, you know what? I'm going to replace this, and I'm going to see me a queen, right? I'm going to see me somebody. Because, like I was telling you, matter of fact, hold that. Go back to 1 Timothy 3 and 5. Because it's a rule, like I said, if you as a sister don't know how to stay in order in your house, you're going to get replaced somehow or another. Because as prophet, we got a lot of stuff to do, Brent. And yet the law states that we got to stay with you and everything else that falls in part. But if you're not keeping these laws and you're breaking these laws, not keeping the commandments, the Most High God, well, eventually, the Most High God's going to move you out of the way, and there will be a replacement for you. We're not going to move you out of the way. We're going to let the Most High do the work. Read. This is the law. Read.
The book of 1 Timothy, chapter 3, verse 5. For if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the children of God?
So he's telling you, that's a law. So ruling over your wife is knowing how to rule your house. But if he cannot rule your wife, your wife don't understand, then you're weak. You can't rule nothing else. You're a simp. So why the king was trying to show them that he was not a simp. So he said, you know what? Let's take everything away from her, and we're going to find another girl to replace her. And this is where Esther came into play. Read.
I'll read again. 1 Timothy chapter 3, verse 5. For if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of God?
So that goes into you have to know how to manage your own house in a godly way. You got to know how to run. You got to know how to run your kids. You got to know how to run your wife. You got to know your house. Because that's what makes you the lead of the house. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to what's happening right now between Vashti and the King Xerxes, she disrespected him. And the guys were worried about it, like, bro, he's king. You do understand that if you let her go, if you become a simp and you let her get away with it, all the other sisters are going to see that all you have to do is talk to their husband the same way. And then their husband's going to become simps, and they're going to get away with whoever talk to. Mm-hmm. Today's world, right now in 2026, that's what's wrong with a bunch of the so-called black, Hispanic, and Native American women. That you tell them something, and they back talk to you. You know, here in Puerto Rico, a lot of women in Puerto Rico, they say they got the pants in the house. Their husband got to do what they say. No. You know, and even I was even hearing a story from Soldier Abel over here, the reader, about his job, about this woman, this sister that he was working with. What did she said? Sister about ruling?
Oh yeah, she said that she runs her husband. That's basically what she said.
So that's the problem. I don't know about y'all, but does somebody see a problem with that? So God is telling the man that he has to rule his own house, but then the woman said, I rule the house. I mean, she's a simp. And there's not a lot of strong men out there. And when you if your sister find you a strong man out there, they're not simp, we're just a few in numbers. Read.
The book of Esther, chapter 2 and verse 3. And let the king appoint officers in all the provinces of his kingdom, that they may gather together all the fair young virgins unto Shushan, the palace.
Because of time, jump to verse 27. To verse 7. 2 and 7.
Verse 27.
2 and 7. Sorry.
Verse 7. And he brought up Hadassah.
Who he brought?
He brought up Hadassah.
So he brought the replacement. He brought her the replacement. He said, well, since you can't obey and you can't listen to me, you don't want to let me rule over you, I'm going to bring your replacement. And Hadassah was his replacement. Finish that?
And he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter, for he had neither father nor mother. And the maid was fair and beautiful.
So this sister, you don't understand, man. And a black Hispanic sister, bro, we are built. Those women are built to look good as hell. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you're fat, skinny, anything, bro. You know, I say a lot of people say but I'm telling you, burn the fat. You know, I gotta burn the fat. You know, those sisters have to understand when it comes to features to the face, they're beautiful sister. Why? Because God made them to be that beautiful. You know how many people from the other side of the world fly to the side of the world just to get married to a Hispanic woman, to a black woman, you know? Because they see the beauty in them. They don't want to marry their own people most sometimes because they see where the beautiful women are at. So this woman, Esther, beautiful sister, came up and said, hey, what's up? Read.
Who Mordecai, when her father and mother were dead, took for his own daughter. So it came to pass, when the king's commandment and his decree was heard, and when many maidens were gathered together unto Shushan, the palace, to the custody of Haggai, that Esther was brought also unto the king's house, to the custody of Haggai, keeper of the women.
Jump to verse 10.
Verse 10. Esther had not showed her people, nor her kindred, for Mordecai had charged her that she should not show it.
That sounds like, I thought the Christianity said that Esther knew how to make her own decisions. She's a queen. But she had an uncle who told her exactly what she did to do. Her uncle said, hey, don't tell the king who your people are. You're beautiful, don't tell who you are. Keep it a secret. And so Esther did it. Read.
And Mordecai walked every day before the court of the women's house, to know how Esther did and what should become of her.
So this uncle always check on his. He grew up his niece, and he always checking on her. And you know, every day he walked around making sure she was all right, that everything was good. Read.
Now, when every maid's turn was come to go to King Ahasuerus, after that she had been 12 months, according to the manner of the women, for so were the days of the purifications accomplished, to wit, 6 months with oil and myrrh.
Hey, yeah, let me tell you something about that, bro. You know, a woman that takes a bath in oil, you know, or wear that, you know, after they take a shower and they dressed up and they spray that little spray that they smell like flowers or apple, bro. A woman smells good as hell, bro. You know, even when you walk past you, maybe in a grocery store, you can tell like, oh, she smelled like sweet apples, sweet flowers. A woman who take care of herself, they smell good. And at this time, for 12 months, you gotta think about this. For 6 months, she was put into mirth, and 6 months with sweet hours. I mean, for a whole year, bro, she was doing nothing but going through all these things just to smell good. Read.
And 6 months with sweet odors, and with other things for the purifying of the women.
So, sister, that does not mean that you just go in and you don't take a shower for days and you just pray and you think you're gonna smell good, bro. Or you gotta wash. You gotta clean yourself, and that's what she said. She went through all this. Read.
Then thus came every maiden unto the king. Whatsoever she desired was given her to go with her out of the house of the women unto the king's house. In the evening she went, and on the morrow she returned into the second house of the women, to the custody of Shashagaz, the king's chamberlain, which kept the concubines. Mm-hmm. She came in unto the king no more, except the king delighted in her, and that she were called by name.
So you see, she was so beautiful. Out of all the concubines he had, that was her favorite. She's like, yo, that's the one I like. He had all choice of all these women, but Esther, the king was like, yeah, that's my favorite. That's mine. That's right there. She chose Esther. Read.
Now when the turn of Esther, the daughter of Abihail, the uncle of Mordecai, who had taken her for his daughter, was come to go in unto the king, she required nothing but what Haggai, the king's chamberlain, the keeper of the women, appointed. And Esther obtained favor in the sight of all them that looked upon her.
So she was so beautiful. She was so darn beautiful that everybody, you turn heads, bro. You turn head. That's how beautiful that sister was. So whenever she walked by, like, damn, she's beautiful. So when the time came, read.
So Esther was taken unto King Ahasuerus, unto his house royal in the 10th month, which is the month of Tebeth, in the 7th year of his reign.
Read.
And the king loved Esther above all the women.
She loved what?
Loved Esther above all the women.
That's she. You know when people say you have your favorite, this king had his favorite.
In other words, love in first sight.
Yeah, love just like our king. His favorite is who? Israel.
Yep.
We are his favorite. So this king had his favorite. He had different, of course, favorite flower, favorite, everything else he has. So did God. Our Father has his favorite everything. But when it comes to his people, it's Israel. Right now, Xerxes' favorite right now was Esther above all. Read.
And she obtained grace and favor in his sight more than all the virgins, so that he set the royal crown upon her head.
Read.
And made her queen instead of Vashti.
So then he said, yo, bye Vashti. Hell with you. You disrespected me, I don't need you. Look at this. Let me show you. Hey, girl, let me turn to 2026. 2026. Hey, Vashti, look at this. Come on, Esther. Turn around, circle around, show this girl you look 10 times better than her. Now, don't let the door hit you. Don't let the door hit you. So that's not pretty much what the king said to the president. She's better than Vashti. She's 10 times better. Read.
Then the king made a great feast unto all his princes and his servants, even Esther feast. And he made a release to the provinces.
Jump to 20.
Verse 20. Esther had not yet showed her kindred nor her people, as Mordecai had charged her.
Wait a minute. After all this happened, Esther still listened to Mordecai. She wasn't dealing with her own. She said, I'm still listening to my uncle. So even then, after everything happened, she still kept that charge, that order that Mordecai had given her.
And if you haven't subscribed to ICE Puerto Rico, what are you waiting for? Subscribe. Shalom.
Across the earth, the prophets move. From city streets to distant lands, the message is the same. Israel must rise. Through every quest, every journey, the truth spreads. No border can contain it. No distance can silence it. Our nation lives in every moment. In joy, we celebrate marriages. In sorrow, we honor our dead. On the Sabbath, we gather as one. Families rejoicing together, bound by the commandments of God. Yet are we tried. From the stones in Kenya to the hatred in Montana, we endure as a soldier of the Lord. And still, the mission expands. On the airwaves, on the screens, in every nation under heaven, Israel's voice is heard. We build our communities. We raise our children in royalty. We restore what was broken. We clean what was defiled. We show the world who we are. This is Israel united in Christ. Nation in motion. Nation endures.